Hello, good evening, and welcome to IMaH here on Metropolitan Television. IMaH is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goil Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and Meridian Port Services. This show is proudly powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, GAQHI. Our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show. Indeed, we shall be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is to send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177, 0559-019-177. At the appropriate time, when the time is ripe, my producer shall signal, and I will give you the go-ahead to call and contribute to the discussion. Remember, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are live at IMaH Ghana. My name is Kennedy Mona. We're going for a quick break. When we bounce back, we'll continue with the show. Please do stay.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And one thing we'd like to fill you in on today is the fact that Ghana's oldest port, that's the port of Takoradi, is undergoing some massive transformation. And we want to bring you in, fill you in, bring you up to speed with what is going on there. And so we'll have the Marketing and Public Affairs Manager to speak to us just briefly on what it is that they are doing over there and what the opportunities are that are there. And we'll also bring you something on the International Maritime Hospital. You know, they are celebrating their 5th anniversary. And so they held a deba as part of the commemoration of the 5th anniversary. Let's take a look at these stories.
The Takoradi Port, yes, Chinye Kesia, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, Kesia na Nkasase, Takoradi Port, and I'm saying for your science of war, Tema Port. And Kita Port so and also Hujumedi. History of Takoradi Port. Takoradi Port, yes, 1928, and I see Takoradi Port. Let us say Oba a port a Jumanuma Takoradi Port, Yachapa, Yenia, Tema Port so almost Omoyadia, almost bar in the around 1960s. Now 1928 na and painful see Takoradi Port no. Bibia ye port via ebio Takoradi Porter. Since that time, no, import, export, vessel handling, and all the other activities are ye port via no Takoradi Porter ye ebio ha. Na say Ghana yankopon eyadom ema yenya fango and as a crude oil around 2007. Yes, I say 2010, 2011. Ho baby, and I'll share. Takoradi soa keep 3 points. Ye ben ayana sanity. Inti Takoradi Port ye ben keep 3 points pa eye baby offshore ye 2 crude oil ni nyina. Into where ye vision ye say to be a world class port, the dominant oil and gas services hub of West Africa. Shipper who do a baby ye 2 oil ye talo ye nai omo drele crude oil ni nyina no. Yaha any more brony a friend offshore support services. Ship a coho and so muhia and Nemo de Bay Jumanina, Yenny a bang. Into your mobaha, na assist your mamma Sanya Manina, into your friend offshore support services. Vessel Bia Ebeba Abefa bauxite, and I say manganese, and I say Eddie clinker, and I say Gibson Ebebano, a 60 meters and below. Ubetimi about Takoradi Port, and a dry bulk terminal, and a science war liquid bulk terminal near baby petroleum products, petrol, diesel, LPG, heavy fuel. Say amount for Kraba, your Nejinabia, and as a liquid bulk terminal, your 5 dedicated arms for petrol, diesel, LPG, bitumen, and a heavy fuel. Nti ano no so no ye 2 emane call 14 meters deep. Na dry bulk terminal na make us 16 meters deep no. The whole West Africa. Takoradi ye na ye de no esopa.
The Minister for Health, GAQHI, has commended the management of the International Maritime Hospital for the investment they have made in the country's health sector, as well as their contribution to ensuring access to quality, essential healthcare services in the country is achieved. Speaking at a deba to climax the 5th anniversary celebration of the hospital, he said government was doing everything within its capacity to give existing health facilities in the country a facelift as part of its quota to promote quality healthcare in the country. He appealed to the management of the hospital to eschew intolerable ventures and produce accountability, sustainability, and quality healthcare in its operations.
There has been a lot of country-led initiatives in the past few years towards building a robust healthcare system that provides quality, accessible, and affordable healthcare services to the people of our country. These include the National Health Policy, which sets out the policy measures which will lead to actions promoting healthy lifestyles and environment.
The Minister for Transport, GAQHI, highlighted some of the expectations of the hospital, which is poised for excellence in healthcare delivery.
There should be access to your services by the people that you serve, and the focus should not only be on available services, but also on affordable and acceptable services. As more and more people access your services, please ensure that there is easy, fast, and open access to your services at all hours of the day and night, since your duties are your cherished partners.
The board chairman of GAQHI, Isaac Osei, called on the management of the hospital to ensure that staff are trained and mentored to give of their best.
I believe that a facility like this requires a very strong routine and periodic maintenance plan. And in that plan, because looking around here, there are a lot of proprietary items and equipment which require that those who supplied the equipment will be the same ones who will maintain the equipment, and this involves a lot of financial outlay. I would suggest that as part of the plan, IMaH management should engage some of the proprietary suppliers so that our staff can be trained at least for routine maintenance activities.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguji, commended all past Director Generals for their immense role in ensuring that the hospital was given a facelift. He said it was his expectation that IMaH will be a destination for medical tourism.
Anybody who visited this hospital told us, look, you have the best in the world. So what you need now is the service, the people, the human relations, that touch of service and hospitality. And then every single patient or visitor will market this facility to the rest of the world. We want to see tomorrow all the medical tourism to India, to South Africa, to China, to US and Europe coming to Tema, to IMaH.
The CEO of International Maritime Hospital said since its inception in September 2017, the hospital has been committed to the provision of people-centered services by way of well-trained professionals. He also said the facility has seen significant increase in its scope of services from 8 specialized services to 22 cardiac catheterizations.
We are into partnership with Aries Center of Excellence, who manage this cath lab. The hospital management has also initiated a plan of making IMaH a specialized teaching hospital. The process was initiated with the Ghana College of Surgeon and Physician. The OPD pharmacy of IMaH has also been upgraded to a community pharmacy. I'm delighted to inform you that the dialysis unit of IMaH has been upgraded from 5 dialysis machines to 12 ultra-modern dialysis machines. We declare that down.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, Goil, has donated an amount of 150,000 Ghana cedis to the management of the Osu Children's Home. The donation follows a heartbreaking request from the orphanage regarding some challenges they are grappling with, including the inability to pay electricity bills, which has resulted in the children sleeping in darkness. Presenting the check to the orphanage, the managing director and group CEO of Goil, Kwame Osei said the donation, which forms part of the company's corporate social responsibility, is geared towards supporting the upkeep of the children at the orphanage. He said 100,000 Ghana cedis is expected to help the management in the running of the home, while the 50,000 Ghana cedis is expected to help resettle their electricity bills to the electricity company of Ghana.
So I have 2 checks in my hand. This one is 100,000 Ghana cedis, which we present to you to help in the running of the home. And this one is for 50,000 Ghana cedis to help resettle your electricity bill, VCG, so that the children will not be sleeping in darkness. They also have the right to life and to enjoy everything good.
He said there was a need for children in the orphanage to have quality life.
I urge all Ghanaians to turn to this institution and help. It's our own country. They are our children, our grandchildren, and they need our help. So you must do something to help them.
The deputy director at the Osu Children's Home, Yvonne Norman, expressed the orphanage's appreciation to Goil and said the donation will go a long way to mitigate the challenges affecting the orphanage.
We want to say a big thank you and that God should richly bless you. And I know this is the beginning of a relationship. For the electricity, with this one, we will even be sorted for quite some time for electricity. So whatever donations that we get, we won't worry about electricity for some time.
All right, so you're welcome back. We say kudos to Goil Company Limited for going to the aid or to the rescue of the Osu Children's Home. We hope that others would emulate this very kind gesture by way of corporate social responsibility to put a relief on the faces of these unfortunate ones. It's now time for us to take a look at the word of the day. And remember, the word of the day is designed to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the port and shipping industry. Today's word is cost, insurance, and freight. CIF.
The cost, insurance, and freight (CIF) price is the price of a good delivered at the frontier of the important country or the price of a service delivered to a resident before the payment of any import duties or other taxes on imports or trade and transport margins within the country.
All right, so you all come back. It's now time for us to zoom into our discussion proper tonight. And tonight we're taking a look at two distinct issues. The first is the Trade Guided Initiative, the Guided Trade Initiative. And the second one is the Ghana National Policy on AfCFTA. These are two issues we're discussing tonight, all lumped up in one. And with us in the studios to do the discussion tonight are Mr. Dodi Sedu. He's AfCFTA consultant with the Frontier Market Advisors. He's not a stranger on the show. He's been here on several occasions. We are privileged and glad to have him again. Good evening and welcome, sir. Great. And I also have Mr. Louis. I also don't know whether I should add the S or I should make the S silent. What's the proper? Louis, exactly, yeah. So Louis Yawaful is a trade and AfCFTA strategist with the APN group. These are the gentlemen we're having a discussion with tonight. Louis also, of course, is not a stranger to the show. He's been here also on a number of occasions, and we are privileged to have you here tonight again. Welcome. All right, so first of all, let me come to you. I just want you to explain what the Guided Trade Initiative is.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening to your viewers. Yes, so the AfCFTA Guided Initiative is a resolution of the recent Ministerial Council meeting that was held in Accra to, number one, pilot all the AfCFTA discussions, policies, documents, and process that has been developed over the past 4 to 5 years since the AfCFTA agreement was established in March 2018. So as you are aware, over these years, we've been talking a lot about the AfCFTA agreement. There's been a lot of discussions, negotiations, looking at the agreement itself, the protocols, as well as the annexes. For example, on the trading goods protocol, there was discussion, or there have been long discussions on the rules of origin, which we stand about almost 87 to 90% agreement on. There's been, annexes on trade facilitation, on non-tariff barriers. There's been exchanges of schedules of tariff concessions, and I'll just explain that a bit. So basically, countries offered and accepted amongst themselves what the duties would be when we trade under AfCFTA. And so those exchanges have been done and has been largely agreed. So basically, all the discussions has gone on for quite a while, and for many people in the private sector or any AfCFTA enthusiast, we've been interested in seeing trade come to pass. So in the last ministerial meeting, there was an agreement to initiate the pilot of the trade, which is now called the Guided Trade Initiative, to have 7 countries out of 36 countries in Africa that applied or showed interest to actually undertake the process of trading under the AfCFTA. So basically, it's a pilot phase to test all the negotiations, all the discussions, the documents, and all that has been done preceding now with regards to the AfCFTA, so that countries can actually, trade. So that is what the guided trade is about. It's between 7 countries. I think it's Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Mauritius, Egypt, Tanzania, and Cameroon. These countries are the ones that are going to pilot the AfCFTA trade.
The lucky 7.
Yes.
All right. So I just want to find out how soon they're going to start a pilot.
So since it was announced, the AfCFTA Committee on Trading Goods has actually taken a lot of steps. So the launch is supposed to be on the 26th of September, not a few days from today, to be able to actually initiate that process. And I'm aware that in the background, the respective countries have been having discussions. They've been actually... So the actual process is to identify specific companies, specific goods, and actually specific corridors or countries that can trade bilaterally and make sure the goods go from one company to the other and test the process. So the 26th of September is the date for that.
Oh, just this month?
Yes.
All right. So I just wonder, 7 out of 36 countries, that perhaps is not representative enough for us to be able to say, yes, we are setting that, yes, this is going to go fluidly or smoothly. You know, I don't know, but I think that's just too scanty a number for 7 countries to be selected out of 36.
Not at all. It's not scanty. It's a pilot. I mean, I for one have been very much excited about it. Because, like I mentioned, you know, trade is trying to, the AfCFTA or any trade agreement is trying to regulate, you know, the process by which countries trade bilaterally. So, or across, I mean, amongst each other. And you can see from what has gone on that the legal process has been quite long because we are negotiating countries' interest. We're negotiating the private sectors. They're going to be winners and losers. So basically, all the process that has gone on so far, it's in preparation. The 7 countries are the ones that, number one, have you know, submitted their schedule of tariff concessions, just like the others. But more importantly, the processes on the ground, beyond just ratifying and submitting your schedule of tariff concessions, have been very advanced. So like Ghana, we have done the schedule concessions sharing. We have a national coordination office for the AfCFTA. Other countries are emulating us. I think so far we were the first to do that. So kudos to the Ministry of Trade and the government of Ghana for leading that effort. That is one. 2, there's been a lot of training for customs officers to get them to be ready, to understand the rules of origin. Thirdly, we have, of course, developed and put in place an integrated customs management system, an end-to-end system, which for all of these preparations has made us already high. So for the other countries, it's been quite similar processes. So 7 is a good number to pilot, and hopefully when we pass the piloting stage, we should be able to have the rollout across the countries. Of course, we expect that when we pilot this, we'll be able to learn lessons, we'll identify some challenges, and be able to rectify them. So I think 7 is a good number to start with, and then of course everybody else can come along as we go on.
How many companies is each country supposed to come up with for this pilot?
As we speak, there's no limit on the companies. What is rather important is that the products in question should satisfy the made in the country requirement. So those companies for Ghana, I understand, have been identified, mostly in Takoradi, some in Tema, but you must actually meet the made in Ghana and the rules of origin requirements of the AfCFTA.
Okay. All right, let me come to Mr. Louis Awaful and find out from you whether you are abreast with this guided trade initiative and what you make of it.
Thank you. Good evening, and also thank you for
Your microphone is on. Can you switch it on? Yes.
Yes, thank you. I think that, like Dodi shared, the truth is we should have gone far beyond this. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it's the part of Africa, but we have dragged our feet, especially with the commitment. We have something we call the trade efforts. So under the Continental Free Trade, there should have been what we call the efforts by the party states to adhere to the commitments, the tariff schedule they themselves have come out with. But unfortunately, everybody is dragging the feet because one will say that my custom corporation and management is not ready. Some are saying I've not gazetted my tariffs, like it happened on the first day of trading 2021, when the goods left Ghana shores to South Africa. South Africa did not clear because they said they had not gazetted at the time.
Oh, I thought they said they were not aware.
They said they've not gazetted it.
Okay.
So there was this burden on the Secretary General that we are giving you this job. It's almost 2 years. What are you doing?
And there seemed to be no show.
No show. Then he said, look, I am a referee. You have given me the job. I'm coming back to you. You are not committed. So therefore, in order for us to steer something like Dodi said, let us start somewhere with countries that are ready to go. In fact, and it was also based on the fact that if the rules of origin were not even ready as at this time, they would have gone with whatever percentage.
Right.
And so coming from the backdrop of the rules of origin that is available now by 87.7 or whatever it is, they are determined to go. But you see, it's just like having a single currency. You wouldn't have all people onboarding.
Yeah.
So you have to have anchor countries. So let me use these 7 as anchor countries who want to test the waters. Because even if you look at the goods, you have ceramics. So the ceramics will leave Ghana to, I think, either Tanzania or somewhere. Then the air-conditioned parts will leave from Egypt to Ghana, because Ghana, we have a company that assembles the air condition.
Right.
Now, the other thing you have to ask yourself, then I think one of the good news is that Maiden Shipping is going to be the branded company to do the shipment.
Okay. Oh, I see.
That is a fact.
That's
so
for the after.
For the after. Okay. They are going to be branded. So clearly, like Dodi said, it's good news, but what are we waiting? Unlike the trading services that, I mean, it even baffles my mind that you have about 43 countries that have fully, 44, 43, who have ratified fully.
Yes.
As member. But if you go to their specific commitment, 46 countries. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You have 44 countries in terms of becoming full party after state. But when it comes to the commitment that they are submitting, the number is 46. So what? Why? So it means that you are interested in one aspect of the agreement, but in terms of accepting holistically, no.
Yeah.
This is the problem. And so they have to do this one. And like you said, Dodi said, Ghana is leading, because as I'm sitting here, Ghana has been having about 5 countries to find their feet in the after. And so we need to make this more lively to make sure that by the 26th, as he said, it's not just the shipment that is going to those countries. No, but we want to also observe the procedures, the custom procedures in those countries.
Yeah.
And it's also good that at this time, everybody is watching. We need to also understand at what liberalization rates they are using, because it is very important, and that has been the order of the day.
Right.
So I think that come 26, it's a good thing, but I would have been happy to see the likes of Nigeria, the likes of South Africa, the big players really doing more that it is expected. And so for me, I think, yes, like you said, it's a good number. We thank those who are pushing, but I think we also make sure that we allow and make sure that everybody, it should be like a day everybody is observing, like the way we had the first day ceremony that was happening. We should have a day, an event to go with it. Right. It shouldn't just be a normal event. It should be something that everybody will be able to observe, to know that this thing has taken place. Okay. But you see, and lastly, you see, people are confused. I mean, let's admit, people are confused. Why? Because you said countries have already ratified.
Yeah, sure.
Now you say some selected people. So it raises questions in them. What are these people talking about? Why? Like you asked Dodi, you say 44 or 44 have ratified, but why 7? Does it mean that they are not in? And that is exactly how it looks like. Truth be told, that is how it looks like. They are dragging the agreement.
Yeah.
We know it's in phases, but once you have ratified the ones you are committed to, nothing keeps you from implementing those. So you cannot use legality that maybe at this time you have not, I don't know about Ghana, but I've not heard anything in terms of the white paper, but we are on.
Right.
So for me, yeah, it's a good idea. But
Mr. Sedo, I've always, I've said this on a number of occasions on this show, that the ordinary man out there, the businessman, the exporter, the importer, sees a no-show because he thinks that, we're touting AfCFTA. We're claiming that Ghana is way ahead of its compatriots in terms of, getting things done to speed up, trade and all that. But there's no shoe. I can't export under AfCFTA. And so for me, it doesn't mean anything to me as a trader or as an exporter or importer out there. Don't you agree?
Well, I don't agree, and I'll just shed some light on that. Because my personal view, and of course by my training, I know that trade in general is bound by law. So legal processes must be followed. For example, if a country says they've not gazetted their tariff concessions, what it basically means is that the customs officer at the point of entry receiving your goods would not know, would use what has been gazetted already and know what is yet to be gazetted. Okay, so every form used by customs, every process used by customs and other trade support institutions are an act of law. So for me to grant you the tariff concession or the tariff privilege, which is reducing the tariff for you or waiving the tariff off, I must have a legal basis. So that is the point about all of this. So we must understand that countries have internal processes that they must go through. They have processes where they need to gazette, they need to ratify, they need to change forms. For example, as we speak, just at the beginning of this year, the harmonized commodity system, which is used by customs across the world, has been updated to 2022. So, which means that new products that didn't exist in 2017, especially technological products that didn't exist in 2017, must have been included. And so when you import those products into Ghana or export those products into that country, the customs officer must be able to find the appropriate classification for that product and apply the value that must be done. So I agree, if you are a business person in a hurry, then you will say that, yes, there's a delay. But as long as, for me, I don't see the countries deliberately delaying, because so far, if you observe across the continent, you see that people didn't ratify at the same time. That is one. And two, you see that countries that are really minded about finding markets beyond their regions, because most of trade in Africa, intra-Africa trade, is along regional lines. People are looking for markets outside their region. So countries in West Africa are looking for markets in East Africa, in Central Africa, in Northern Africa, and vice versa for those countries. So for me, I see the process. The Guided Initiative is yet one signal that African ministers of trade are really committed to seeing trade come to pass. And over the past 2 years that we started trade under AfCFTA, yes, physical goods have not moved, but actually a lot of work has gone on. A lot of work has gone on. I see a lot of countries trying to, develop, like in the case of Ghana and Kenya, an AfCFTA response strategy. How are those countries intending to take advantage of those strategies? So that is a process. I see a lot of capacity building, a lot of discussions going on, a lot of awareness creation. These are all things that you cannot just start trade and get them right ahead. So for me, if you are a business person, I would say that go ahead and begin to establish contacts with business people. Go ahead and participate in trade fairs, an event that would enable you to make linkages. Go ahead and find market opportunities whilst in waiting, because very soon the borders of those countries you are knocking at will be open for you to trade.
All right. I recall that we said when this whole AfCFTA initiative began, some few companies, 2 or 3, guess, or even one, was able to export under AfCFTA. And wasn't that a pilot? What's the difference between that, which we did, that saw 2 or 3 companies export under AfCFTA, And then the guided trade initiative.
So we can describe those ones that they were just ceremonial because the countries they were destined to, like Luis mentioned, hadn't actually gazetted or gone through the proper processes. So now is actually when the tie hits the road.
Okay, I see.
Let me ask. I know that today Dodi is trying to be in the. When you watch a film, they said the Blue Man and the villain, and so today he's trying to polish the AfCFTA. But for the want of today, let me just move to the complainant side a bit. Like Dodi said, yes, you have certain legal things that are supposed to, but the concerns are that the AfCFTA are in layers. Your first layer was the agreement itself that has been passed, that established that the whole thing, the FTA. Countries have crossed that bit. Then you move to the second layer where you have protocols. And the protocols, we have said over and over, protocols on goods, trading services, and that is where we are. And then we have the third layer, which has to do with the annexes. So, for the purpose of the teeming citizens who are asking questions, we have crossed layer one where the agreement binds us. We have gone, our parliament have gone through everything. Then we have moved to layer two where we say we have the protocols. Now we say we are focusing on protocol on goods and then protocol on trading services and then dispute settlement. Now, what has dragged for a long time is that if you take the protocols, the reason why they have kept long is that you have to submit those tariff concessions for it to be verified, internally. You just don't submit it, and once you submit it to the secretariat, they approve it. No. So a lot of them submitted it all right. It went to a lot of technical verification to see that, yes, indeed, the list that you have submitted that you say you want to have concessions for it, it really meets the modalities that we're expecting. And so we agree that kept some time, a long time. So yes, if you take ECOWAS like this, ECOWAS had about 6,000 goods. So if you take the 6,000 goods, then you go into the goods, the 90% category. So you take 90% of the 6,000. We're good to go. Then if you take the 7% of the 95,000, 6,000 goods, then you take the 3% of the 6,000 goods. So ECOWAS, yes. But what about the other regions? If you look at the tariff concessions, countries like Seychelles, they went alone. Other countries went alone. They didn't go as a bloc. So the crux of the matter has been that whilst we, the likes of Dodi, are praying that, defending that legality may go, other countries are also deliberately trying to be on the hedge as if that the commitment that they are supposed to submit, they don't want to bring in for final verification, or either they are waiting. Because you should know that when you change anything, now that we have the e-tariff, if any time you change anything per the schedules you have to write to the secretariat. Okay? You have to write to the secretariat that I, Monarch Country A, I have changed this my tariff concession, so whatever it is. So correct it, because forget not that right now we are also using the African Trade Observatory. Every country is supposed to publish your list and everything there. So it has to be transparent. So therefore, we cannot say, it was difficult in those days, as I remember, when every country was holding its list of 7%, its list of 3%. We have crossed that stage now. Its thing is published, like the way we have the e-tariff. It's published at the African Trade Observatory. So what is keeping you internally from actually submitting those? And I remember one of the times I visited the Secretary General, he explained the frustration he's facing. He didn't hide it. He said, I'm frustrated. And I asked him, why are you frustrated? I said, look, the frustration I'm having is that I am supposed to be a referee. I have done my job. But put the implementation framework at your ports, your customs. Put the legal framework. You are not doing it. Like you rightly said, Ghana and Co are doing, but the other countries are not making commitment to the legal framework at the customs, because that is the most, one of the important places, the borders,
that's what I'm coming to.
So it is the fact that yes, Lord is gifting them time frame, but for how long? So it's good that 7 have started. But at least they have given themselves by the end of this year to also continue negotiations on the other phases. They cannot continue to dwell on goods alone. So yes, it's a good initiative, but internally, institutions that are mandated to support its completion should also speed it up. Some of these.
You seem to paint the picture that the Secretary General is throwing his hands in despair and.
No, not at all. Okay. He's being frantic with the issues because, as I'm saying, you know the nature of African management. It's the same people he's working with who will be pointing out that he is not implementing, and he's saying that look, I am. However, my frustration is that there are few legal instruments to the procedures or customs, and so it should be speeded up quickly.
Yeah.
And so as to this 726 will test his frustration whether it is true indeed.
Right.
And so yes, that is the picture. No, he's not at all. After all, he has another term, and we know by all means he might go alone.
Right. Unopposed.
I'm only suggesting.
you have launched a campaign for Secretary General Wankele Mene. All right, let me come to you and Mr. Seidu and find out from you how the guided trade initiative would guide shipments, through customs clearance under the provisional training.
Okay, so like Luis mentioned, the logistics provider has been identified.
Yes, that's McDonald.
Yes,
you mentioned. Okay.
So I know there's also a couple of others that are being considered. But basically, the idea is that the whole process of going through customs, going through borders, will be facilitated so that goods can actually move between and among the countries in question. Like I mentioned also, I know that there was earlier processes to identify the businesses and the companies and the products that could be or would be exported. Of course, it could be exported. The companies should be interested in taking advantage of the AfCFTA. So that has been done. And then, like I mentioned, the port processes, the logistics, the actual customs processes that will be encountered and what will happen will all be monitored and also facilitated so that the goods can move. So that is what I know about the logistics and the customs processes as well.
All right. We also understand there's the publication of this e-tariff book. I just want to find out from you how that's going to impact continental trade.
So, like we've been discussing, there are two main challenges or two main challenges. That's what I think. Two main challenges to intra-Africa trade. The first one is the duties, which is the tariff, and the second one being the non-tariff barriers. So the e-tariff book, which is a composition of the tariff offers, is the digitization of the tariffs that will be applied for an imported product. And so the impact here is that now, like Luis mentioned, is making it transparent across board so that you can already tell what duty you would pay before you actually export your product or before you import from another AfCFTA eligible country. So the impact here is the transparency and the simplification of it. So it's not only left to the customs officer because that information is available to everybody. You just go to etariff.afcfta.au and you'll be able to find the tariff that you should pay for a particular product or input that you intend to import or export. Yeah.
All right, so let me come to you and find out whether you are able to tell us the progress we've made in terms of the rules of origin.
I think the last time I checked, it's still around 87.7, and they are going with that. And
87.7.
87.7. Because of the
almost 88
automotive industry, the automotive side of it, because they have to agree on a lot of things. But a bit of what to add what they said, the e-tariff it will help market intelligence because look. The biggest issue that we have been facing is if you identify a product you want to export, to where? To where? There are people who have products, but to where? So that e-tariff is supposed to help us well. And then also, we also have to understand is that it also enables you, the trader, to, I think that's one of the things that the Secretariat, together with the Ministries of Trade, should really do a serious capacity building and training when it comes to that regard. Look, it is not saying zero tariffs, so because people feel that once I know that this commodity is going to be accepted in country A, when I go to the port, it's zero. No. It is based upon the liberalization category, classification the country has chosen. If Ghana is in the 10th year, category 2, or the LDC and non-LDC. So, for example, if I'm within 10 years, it means that I will liberalize gradually, according to certain percentages, over a period of 10 years. So, for example, if year 1, Ghana says I'm liberalizing over 25%, so it means to the layman, if this is supposed to go through duties, and it comes to the port of Accra, the custom officer just takes the tariff book, the original one, and see that, okay, the duties on it was, let's say, 35%. But after, because it has become now an after product, now it's taking, let's say, it's supposed to liberalize 25%. So you are going to liberalize the 25% of the original one you have in your bullets, the 35%, and to be reduced until the time that it becomes the 10th year. By the time I come with the same product, it's supposed to be completely zero. So if we don't explain that to people, they will still continue to think that we say everything is free, we have moved to the port, we are still paying this. No. It is not, it's zero. Those who are even liberalizing over the past 5 years, the same. So the 5 years category, like Egypt and co, if you take the first year, how much percentage are they liberalized? If they say 25, it means that if you go, they take the tariff book, they open their books, harmonized one. At the end of the day, if the spend is supposed, you were paying duties of, let's say, 15%. If they say they are liberalizing over 25% the first year, 25% of the 15% is what will be reduced. Come back 5 years' time. By 5 years' time, this spend should be zero. So this special initiative they are doing, we are all watching to see. Because I'm not sure it's going to be as free. So that is the essence of the ebook. I've tried it myself. I've gone there to see it's working. Where you see the importing country and the exporting country. So you click the where you want to export, or you click, and we have also been, we have always also been harmonizing on the export side. We also have to look at the import side of the AfCFTA. Because like I gave you an example, if somebody is in Togo manufacturing fried oil, fried oil is Ghana's product, let me just say manufacturing an oil, cooking oil, prior to the AfCFTA, if Togo and Ghana looked at it and said, okay, this product can come to Ghana, it's a part of our list, like we're all in ECOWAS, and Ghana is saying, okay, because of the system, say we are giving you 25% over the first year, or it means it's zero. It means that if prior to AfCFTA I was importing a container of that cooking oil, the coming to force of the AfCFTA, the same importer, I'll have the opportunity to import even a 40-footer container, which is a plus for me. So whilst we are looking at the export side, we also have to also know that to me, to be an import, the person in Togo will say as an import side of it. And so it is very, very important for also to, because other than that, people will say, oh, me, I'm not exporting, I'm not thinking I'm supposed to be part of the DSA. No, it's also opportunity for the import side of it.
So I think what you're trying to say about the second point was that it contributes to, you mentioned the market intelligence, and then it can also be a source of comparative analysis. So you can compare and see which countries from which, when you import or export to, you'll be more competitive as a business. So which is a very good, important point. I think I agree with you on the point about looking at the import side. When I look at the import side of AfCFTA, I think about it from the point of view of importing raw materials, inputs that you can use for your final processing here. Because the AfCFTA rules of origin allows you to do what we call cumulation. So cumulation basically means any country that has ratified the AfCFTA, raw materials from there can be imported at as a product used, originated from your country, which you can use for your final processing and then re-export back into the African continent. So that is one of the advantages you think of. You know, if you look at those who do bread, for example, because of recent geopolitics, bread prices have gone up because of the use of wheat flour. You know, so maybe now there are countries in Africa that may produce wheat, or we're looking to substitute wheat flour with, let's say, cassava flour. So cassava flour from other African countries which is wholly obtained, can be imported into Ghana for bread manufacturing and then, of course, consumption, and vice versa. We can also export cassava flour, for example, and the AfCFTA for our benefit.
I read recently about a woman in Nigeria who's called the cassava queen, who exports cassava to Europe, and she makes like $5 million a year. I read about it, I think just this week, last week, I think that is something that we should do. I mean, we produce a lot of cassava, and
and I think that
I think that we should.
It's not limited to us only in Africa. The accumulation effect he's explaining. It's also that the fact that we are in AfCFTA, what do you call it? A regime of preferential. Does not mean that I cannot input raw materials from outside Africa. No. And this is where sometimes the issue is where people say, why are you still importing? Remember, that is why you have value addition in the rules of origin. So I can input manufacturing, that's a specific, because you cannot have all those raw materials here. So if I import from outside Africa, the rules of origin gives me a certain level to which I can work on.
Right.
So we shouldn't say that because we are in AfCFTA, we have closed our doors to foreign trade. No, it's not like that. We need to know that we don't even have all the tech. So sure, that is why when you hear of partnerships between, let's say, Ghana and UK, you shouldn't think that Ghana is going behind AfCFTA. No, they are having an agreement based on a certain line of trade. They could say that for this input that I'm making, you are not manufacturing it. So this, when I can let the tariffs be according to this way. And I think most other countries are doing. Except, of course, you try to give a preferential treatment to a third party. And then when it comes to your a member within the state, you are giving the person a MFN approach.
Right.
That is not the fair grounds. And so I think that we need to look at all these so that we don't close the doors to other competitors.
Okay. I just want to find out from you quickly before we go for our first break. And you mentioned September 26th this month as when the guided trade initiative would begin, the pilot. Have we identified any companies? Initially, I asked you how many companies each of the 7 countries supposed to come up with for the pilot. I mean, you said there was no cap. So I just want to find out from whether we have companies in Ghana that have been identified that will partake in this particular pilot thing when on the 26th.
He's putting you.
Yes, the answer is yes. They've been identified. They've been spoken to. Some have really expressed optimism about the guided trade initiative and are working with the appropriate agencies, like especially customs, to be able to take advantage of it. So I can say, I think there's one popular ceramics company, for example, that has been identified. They were very, very much interested. There are some of the, I don't want to mention names because of, you know, but
how many are they?
I can think of
10,
about
15?
at least 10. It's the company, but the products can be more. Maybe one company can do more than two
products,
or 3 products. Yes, but yes. So I think we are very much on course, and it will be very exciting.
Right. Okay. So this is Zion Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are discussing 2 key subjects. The first one has to do with the guided trade initiative and then Ghana's national policy on the AfTA. And with me in the studios, Mr. Dodi Seidu, who is an AfTA consultant with Frontier Market Advisors, and also in the studios, Mr. Louis Yawafo, trade and AfTA strategist with the APN Group. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the show. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the flood have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, so you're welcome back. Pretty shortly, we shall be going into the inbox to pick your messages and share with the rest of the world. I've also picked signals from my production team that I can activate the phone lines for you to call in. The number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. You can call in and then share your thoughts on the subject, on the topic that we are discussing this evening. Let's go to the after policy framework and action plan. Louis. Yes, it was launched recently in here in Accra. I just want to find out from you what that seeks to achieve.
Yes, I think that it's important.
I think we're having too many of those after this, after that, after this, after that, and still trade no they're hopping.
Well, like Dodi said, let's be on the positive side.
Right, I agree.
I think that if you look at the architecture of the AfTA, they realized that they will come to a point where implementation was going to be difficult without the party states themselves.
Right.
Therefore, at one of their meetings last year or last 2 years, they suggested in one of their minutes, because it was not shareable, that every country should, every member state should establish an AfTA coordinating office. So that AfTA coordinating office will be a liaison between the citizens, the business people, and then AfTA secretariat. Remember, the AfTA secretariat is a diplomatic status. It does not necessarily serve the direct interests of Ghana. So sometimes I appeal to companies, if you are writing to AfTA secretariat and not responding, don't blame them.
Right.
Because you are supposed to go through the AfTA coordinating office.
Yeah.
Now, the AfTA coordinating office is supposed to strategize about how to implement what we call the BIAT. The BIAT is like if you are supposed to rate.
What's the full meaning of the BIAT?
Boosting into African trade. They all sat
boosting
down
into
together.
African trade.
That's why I always get angry. Excuse me, that you all agree on something, and then when it comes to implementation, everybody seems to be quiet on the other. They all agree that let us use indicators, saying, if I don't see this, that ABC being implemented in your country, then you are not following the course. So they said, let us use something called BIAT, boosting traffic country. And under the BIAT, let us pick certain classifications. So they chose certain classifications. And then some countries said, oh, we are not going to sit down and wait. We are going to establish what we call our office, and then also come out with policies in relation to the BIAT.
Right.
So the first process Ghana did was that you first have to have technical experts. In those days, when before CFTA became AfCFTA, they were dealing with government and then private sector in terms of negotiations. So
Right.
they can, let's say, they will invite Mr. Seidu, this is his technical expertise, then he will be going around together with the CFTA office and then the Ministry of Trade, without necessarily representing the country.
Okay.
Now, in phases 2, 3, they said no. They are no more going to allow individuals to go. So what they have to do, they should go through their Ministries of Trade, technical working groups. So Ghana here, Ministry of Trade established technical working groups. Then the technical working groups, they came out with policy, framework, also, and then it was forwarded by what the President, His Excellency, established what we call the Interministerial Committee. So that Interministerial Committee met, forwarded what the technical working groups worked on, and then presented to Cabinet. So after it was presented to Cabinet, it was now launched as a policy to guide the fulfillment of the BIAT, so that if Ghana is veering off, we all consider, oh no, you said you were implementing this, that. So this is what. So the policy is just explaining our position, how we want to really implement the AfCFTA to the best of Ghanaians. And it's important it involves the private sector as its own work. So if you look at the policy, which we won't go there now, private sector has been invited. So this is the policy. They call the National AfCFTA policy.
Yeah. Okay. Let me come to you, Mr. Seidu, and find out how far we've come in terms of our quest to eliminate trade barriers to continental trade. We know a lot of people complain, particularly those that ply our country while doing transit trade and all that. They talk about a lot of barriers, that hamper the fluidity or free flow of, goods on our roads and all that.
Okay, so when it comes to the barriers, we have the effort that has been put in place in the context of the AfCFTA. One is in the establishment of the AfCFTA Annex, I think Annex 5, on non-tariff barriers.
Right.
So how it intends to deal with non-tariff barriers, one, is to be able to, number one, identify them, categorize them, report them, and also create a monitoring mechanism.
Right.
So identifying them basically means being able to come up with what are the frequently experienced non-tariff barriers. So be it government policies, be it customs procedures, be it even immigration policies, be it technical barriers to trade, be it sanitary and phytosanitary measures. All of these have been identified as non-tariff barriers. Now,
okay, before you flow,
yes.
just hold it there. When we come, you continue. But I understand we someone from Kumasi, whether it's Roland or so. Hello, good evening, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please shoot.
Good evening. I just want to know, after the policies you have put in place, are they capable of detecting smuggling goods?
Roland, can you speak up a bit? Your voice is a bit faint. If you can speak up a bit.
The after the policies you put in place, are they capable of detecting smuggled goods?
Capable of detecting smuggled goods. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Roland. We're grateful to you. You can also call the number to dial 020-552-8353, and you can share your thoughts on the program. Yes.
I don't know if I'm supposed to answer that now.
Please, yes, please do.
No, so the policy framework that has been put in place is not necessarily directed at addressing this specific issue. This specific issue is clearly a customs issue, but the AfCFTA policy framework that has been developed by the government has 7 components. As Louise alluded to it, it's actually based on the framework of the boosting intra-Africa trade. So the 7 components are, trying to put in place trade policies that are in sync with the AfCFTA. So how do you develop national policies and plans, trade policies that are harmonized with the AfCFTA? The second component deals with trade facilitation, so improving the harmonization, simplification, and facilitating movement of goods under the AfCFTA. The third one is on enhancing productive capacity under the AfCFTA. So how do we improve our capacity to produce goods and services that we can trade under AfCFTA? Right. The third one is on improving trade-related infrastructure. So, trade has the soft side and the hard side. Trade facilitation, simplification of procedures, documentation, these are the soft side. Yes. The hard side is the infrastructure, road network, railway, the use of for example, the Volta Lake. For example, some people are looking at using the Volta Lake to be able to transport goods up north so that goods can be picked. So this is the aspect of trade-related infrastructure. The third aspect is on trade information. I mean, like Luis was talking about it, you see that there's a lot of discussion about trade going on. Where do you find information if you want to be an exporter, if you want to be an importer? Who do you go to? Which institution has the one-stop shop for everything? Right. So the AfCFTA and the National Coordination Office is looking at harmonizing all the data information available so that traders can have information. The third one is on the availability of trade and development finance. Right. For you to be involved in import and export, you need a different kind of finance from the everyday finance that we use. So development finance is more patient, long-term finance at reduced interest rates. So the policy framework looks at that. And the third but not the least is looking at factor market integration. For example, trade in goods and services means movement of people. How do we ensure that people can move in and out of Ghana to be able to provide services and trade in goods, as well as how do we ensure that there is mutual recognition of qualifications? If I'm a doctor in Ghana and I want to practice in Liberia, is my qualification the same? And vice versa. So how do we ensure? So that is what the policy framework generally deals with, not necessarily smuggling per se. Smuggling in the context we're talking about will be the issue of the police and the and customs. But back to your question, which was brought this issue about, is that non-tariff barriers are being addressed. Number one, I mentioned the mechanism for monitoring. So there is a non-tariff barrier platform called NTB, I think not NTB.Africa. I hope I got it right, but just type NTB Africa, and then it's a website that allows you, and there's already one that's been developed by Borderless Alliance and Ghana Shippers Authority that allows transit drivers, operators to report. You can report through SMS, through the online application. If you meet a challenge on the road, so instead of maybe being frustrated, you can call a number, you can report the issue. At the back or behind the platform are focal points, national focal points, institutional focal points. So maybe if it's an issue to be dealt with by the police person will be called, he would investigate and find out. And if there is no issue, your goods can move and then you can go. So that is another approach. The third approach that is being explored by ECOWAS and other regional authorities is to be able to link customs to customs systems so that when goods are moving, they can be tracked regionally. Now we have a lot of national tracking. So when you see a cargo truck going across the border, there is actually something like a padlock that helps you to track the goods. But we don't have regional tracking or continental tracking of goods. So that is another level. The third one is to look at things like guarantee systems. So let me explain that.
Before you explain that, we'll go on to the phone lines and welcome Maxwell onto the show. Good evening, sir.
Oh, there's so many noise,
Hello, Max.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Will you agree with me that trading among ourselves, Africa, would have been 60 or more years ago? Independence of Ghana is meaningless. unless it is linked up to total West African continent. Do you know that?
The very, very popular saying of First President Kwame Nkrumah, yes.
Who said it? Who said it?
President Nkrumah.
Independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up to total West African continent. And he said, when he said we should, get one currency. By the time he said, oh, the European Union, I've gone ahead to do it. Do you know that we have, I mean, we have not done the right thing? Do you know that?
Please go ahead.
Okay, the man said independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up to the West African continent.
Yes.
And this AfCFTA should have come long time ago.
Point well made, yes. Point well made. Thomas from Kaswa. We're grateful to you. I think his point was just straightforward, so there's no need to. Yeah, so you were about explaining the...
Yeah, so the original, the guarantee system is basically, when you import goods that are destined not for... Africa has out of the 55 countries, 16 of them are landlocked countries, which means they don't have access to the sea. That is one. Two, as we're doing continental trade, it means that goods will move from one country through another to, let's say, a third or fourth country. So, for example, goods will be manufactured in Ghana, they'll be transported through Burkina, intended for Niger or Mali. Now, when the goods get to Burkina, made in Ghana, the Burkina customs is supposed to take their duty. However, if the goods are in transit, then basically the goods must be covered by a guarantee. So that system that we have as we speak is usually nationally based.
Right.
So we need, or it's being developed, being discussed, to be able to have a system where you can have more like a continental guarantee system, so that when the goods move and let's say they are diverted or destroyed on the way, there is the government of the country that it was destroyed or passed through is assured of their revenue. So these are ways that some of the non-tariff barriers are being addressed.
Right. Okay. So let me come to you. Recently, there was the conference, Maiden conference for women and youth in trade on AfCFTA, and this happened in Tanzania. I just want to find out from you, of what significance do you think this particular conference is?
Yes, a quick one before I go to that one. The gentleman asked the question. One of the things we have to understand is that the African Continental Free Trade said free movement of persons and goods. Therefore, if you are talking about smuggling, the AfCFTA Secretariat is not the police. Again, if you are supposed to export under AfCFTA, there are procedures. You either contact Ghana Chamber of Commerce or the customs. That task force will come and supervise, identify the product, whether they are AfCFTA products. If they are AfCFTA products, then the goods will have to be accompanied by AfCFTA certificate of origin. So if it's not an AfCFTA product and doesn't have all these processes and procedures, and it's also a product maybe from Ghana, and you know the procedure, you bypass all this, but then of course you know where you are heading towards, and that's very key. And then Dodi mentioned a very important, the guarantee. AfCFTA is supporting that guarantee system.
Yes.
On the NTB, very, very important. AfCFTA is committing a lot of money to that. Then you also realize that this NTB is very important. That is why we are going for the FTA, because we have been realizing that we are exporting outside Africa. We are always at the mercy of quotas, at the mercy of technical barriers. Go and do this. And the good news is that under the AfCFTA, other what do you call it, operationalization instrument.
Yes.
There is going to be the in terms of the standardization and then registration, certification. There's going to be one this office in Niger that's going to harmonize all.
Okay.
And what is good? The good news is that if still, even though we have our FTA in Africa, you want to export goods outside Africa, and you still meet these NTBs from other regions, Europe or Asia, whatever it is, and your goods are rejected, the African Bank has financed what we call the quality assurance facility. That facility, your product will go there, certified, and then send into the African market.
Right.
Now, back to your, in fact, I was finding, back to the question you asked with the policy that, yes, traditionally, the agreement did not look at protocol on women and children because our heads of states believed, the excellencies believed that the traditional goal that they have to give to the AfCFTA was met. But look, we are in a different cosmopolitan world. Women and children. The World Bank said that about 50% of African population are youth. AU defines a youth from 15 years to 35.
Right.
Now, our last census we did, you just go and check the figures are there for you to find out. We have classified, and the youth policy I just read recently, they've classified that kind of youth. So they said, no. If we look at how we are doing our thing, we need to have a policy. Women should have a protocol on their own. They should stand out alone. Therefore, that conference was not to cement everything, but was to elicit complaints, that's what they call a conference, elicit challenges. That's the first step. So this was the ground zero draft.
Yeah.
What will happen is that after this conference, they'll be doing more. Then they'll move into the negotiations, committees here and there, to the point where at the latter stage, they are going to have a protocol on women and youth. And it is very, very important that all national or party states should look and review their youth policies or policies on women to be synchronous with the continental framework. So this is the best time that though it is not ready, negotiations are ongoing, we have to look back within. How will the after protocol on women and youth look like that Ghana can inculcate it in new, a reviewed youth policy? Because to me, the national youth policy we have needs a review.
Right.
It needs a review because there's been a lot of changes in the youth revolution to the extent that it reflects, education is going to be part of the services and after.
Absolutely.
So education has metamorphosed. It has gone up. It has changed. The way we used to go under training previously, where you go to GSS, you go to SSS, then you have to go and then major in your courses in university. It has changed. So right now, if you are looking at bringing entrepreneurship, it shouldn't be at the university. It should be at the SHS. And so by the time that SHS person graduates or at high school, the person is an entrepreneur. So the policy should be such that the end game of it is not just a means to the end.
Right.
So that was the purpose of the conference.
Okay. Great. Let's take some messages. This one is from Ohima in Tema. She's one of our regular texters and regular viewers. She says, good evening, IMPort. What is the time frame or duration of the guided trade initiative? That's one. Two, after the guided trade initiative, what next? For actual trading under after to be really happening on ground. How many of the 7 countries participating in the initiative have gazetted the tariff and made it available to their customs? Has Ghana gazetted its after tariff? And then why don't we channel these efforts rather to lobbying state parties to gazette their tariffs so that a ceremonial initiative like the guided trade tour won't be necessary? I think the rhetorics are becoming just too much. Maybe some quick responses. I think these are very valid points and questions she's asked.
They said,
when will it end?
Yes, when the first one is that after the first one says, what is the time frame or duration of the guided tour guided trade initiative? Yeah.
Honestly, I can't tell.
Me neither. But I think let it start. The rhetoric is not what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is gradual progress. She asked the question, why can't we focus on lobbying everybody?
Yeah.
The principles of the AfCFTA agreement is a principle of variable geometry.
Right.
It's not to force countries to ratify or to become state parties. So it's allowing the process to go on, and I think that is a good approach.
So the question is, what next after the guided trade initiative?
Whatever you do, like the principle of the the variable geometry.
Yes.
So whatever treatment you give to country A, country B will also do for you. But then the question she asked, even though we might not know whether it's ending for a month or two, the Secretary General has stated clearly. That's why we started by explaining the rules of origin. That by the end of the year, whether it's going to end at 87.7%, they are going to go with trading.
Right.
So I believe that beyond the guided one, it will continue. And you'll be seeing countries come on board. So for me, where I sit, in my opinion, I think that it will continue.
Okay, another important question. How many of the 7 countries that have been selected for the pilot have gazetted their tariff?
I think so far as I'm concerned, most all of them have gazetted, because otherwise then it wouldn't work.
Okay.
It wouldn't work.
All right.
I wanted to add a bit to the youth and women conference, if that is okay with you.
Yes.
And Luis,
we have barely 4 minutes to
okay.
go. Yes.
Yeah. So what is key is that I think in 2019 there's a World Bank project called Trade Facilitation West Africa, which I'm a part of. We undertook a survey of a group called Small Scale Cross-Border Traders, because a lot of trade in Africa is done by these group of people who are usually informal, but we describe them as small scale cross-border traders. We did across 9 countries in 6 corridors, trade corridors. Right. And I'll just give some of the statistics just to buttress the point. Okay. So first of all, when we did a survey, we realized that between 36 to 51% of them are below the age of 34. So again, to the point of youth, 15 to 35 is the general definition of youth. So up to 51% of the traders, small-scale cross-border traders, were youth. Number one, 40% of them had no education or just had informal education. 40% of them were women. So women consider a big majority of cross-border traders. And your mind, I'll just cast your mind to those who do aflao lome. Sure. You know, you can just see a lot of women more than men. Then their earnings were 40% of them earned a little above $99 a month. You know, and then about only 22% had formalization. So the businesses were not formal. So this just to show you the role of women and youth in trade. And if you look at unemployment in Ghana, youth unemployment is the highest. Again, just statistics. I hope it doesn't take all the 4 minutes. So according to the Ghana Labour Survey of 2015, total unemployment in Ghana as 2015 was 11.6%, and youth unemployment was 16.9%. Right. In 2019, total youth unemployment reduced to 8.4%, yet youth unemployment was 12.6%. Then as of the 2020 population census, which Luis referred to, total unemployment rate was 13.4%. That's of our 30 million people. Youth unemployment was 19.7%. Wow. So it tells you the issue. And so the AfCFTA member states, and I'm sure this reflects in other African countries, felt that they can use the trade agreement to trigger, you know, a strong focus on women, youth, and SMEs. Right. And so if you look at the preamble to the agreement, you see a very strong reference to it. I believe in using trade to spare development. Right. And so I'm for it.
Great. Thank you very much indeed. Let me come to you with this question, then we'll wrap up with it. It says, please ask your guests, what is the level of trust amongst countries? I believe the delay in the continental trade is attributable to the lack of trust. This one is from Ishmael, from Tema.
Lack of trust.
Yes.
Is
what is the level of trust?
Let me say this, general. Lack of trust is a very common characteristic of many negotiations. So it's not just unique to African countries. It's in Europe, it's in everywhere. So it's not, for me, I don't see a lack of trust. That is why the processes are negotiated. The processes are written down and the processes are, you know, published. So I don't think it's a problem.
Right. Okay.
The AfCFTA is not based on emotions. It's based on principle. Right. So trust is bring your principle, your commitment of schedules. If you don't bring it, it's as simple as you are not interested. Right. So those who are ready to go, they've submitted their principles. So no one can really calculate the level of trust among the other set. They look at the document before them.
Right. Okay, so that's how we draw the curtain tonight on IMPort here on Metropolitan Television. I've been doing the discussions with Mr. Dodi Seydou, who is after consultant with Frontier Market Advisors, and Mr. Louis Afo, Trade and After Strategies with APN Group. We would entreat you to watch the abridged version of the show on Ghana Television on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. I would like to say a big thanks to our sponsors once again: Ghana Revenue Authority, Goil Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and Meridian Port Services. Remember, the show is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of the show. The name is Kennedy Mona. I entreat you to have a super week ahead and keep watching out the rest of our programs. Good evening.